Hi, Atul.
Hey, Dean.
Okay, sir. So let's start by letting people know a little bit about you. And then I have a couple questions I want to ask you about fractional CMOs, what they do.
All right. So I'm Atul Minocha. I'm a fractional CMO and a partner at Chief Outsiders. And as a company, we work in on almost every vertical, but I personally work in manufacturing, healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
and technology. And what I like to tell my prospective clients, and this might sound a little odd, that call me last, not first.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, when they are on the verge of giving up solving their growth problem, that's when I want them to call me. And why is that? I can solve their simple problems too, and probably can do it much faster, but then very likely I'll get bored, and I don't
Yeah.
like to get bored. I usually seek out some very challenging problems. So call me last when you've almost given up on solving your growth problem.
All right. So tell me and people watching, tell us what a fractional CMO is, and then what a fractional CMO normally sort of does or tries to do at the beginning of a new engagement, like the first 90 days or so. So what
Yeah.
does a CMO do and what happens in the first 90 days?
Yeah. So fractional CMO is what the name might suggest. In other
Mm-hmm.
words, job is that of a CMO, Chief Marketing Officer. But instead of it being a full-time role where you are, employed by a company and expected to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, you are hired to do the CMO work, but on a fractional basis, only on a part-time basis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's essentially what a fractional CMO is. So we would do pretty much what any CMO would do, or at least parts of it. Uh,
Right.
and, but we'll work on it on a fractional basis.
So let's imagine a brand new engagement then, brand new customer. Today's day one. Like, what do you see and do and look for in the first 90 days, starting with a new client?
Yeah. So they can be, as you can imagine, every engagement is unique. Every
Mm-hmm.
engagement is different. But I'm going to try and simplify and sort of say, okay, let's look at two different buckets of engagements. So one bucket consists of what I call a project-based engagement. In other words, a company has a specific project in mind that they believe a CMO like myself can tackle. And that could be a pricing project, that could be a channel distribution project, that could be a branding project, SEO project. So in other words, there's one particular aspect of or one or two aspects of a CMO world that they want the CMO, the fractional CMO, to tackle. In which case, we'll dive in. Of course, in the very first couple of days, I want to get a full lay of the land, so to speak.
Right.
What does the company do? What are the sort of the team dynamics? What all is going on? So I'll do that. But then, as quickly as possible, within the first week itself, I would want to start focusing on my project assignment. The second bucket of CMO fractional CMO assignments actually are what I would call truly fractional CMOs. In other words, we get hired not because they have a specific project in mind, but either their full-time CMO is on leave, or they just fired that person, or the person just left. And before they find somebody to replace that, they say, we need somebody to keep the engine moving.
Right.
So bring us in, and we'll be there for 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 months, and be doing everything that their full-time CMO was doing. So there again, the first few days are similar. We want to get to know the team, we want to get to know the lay of the land, but then subsequently also we are pretty much doing. I mean, in other words, I don't have a specific project in front of me. I have the whole company management or the whole department management that I'm going to try and lead.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So imagine that I'm the CEO at your client. Okay. And I've had to, convince somebody probably to allocate the spend for a year of a fractional CMO, like the board or the ELT or maybe even just myself, right? Talk myself in.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've allocated the spend, brought someone in. How am I going to get maximum value out of that fractional CMO for the next 12 months?
So you're going to get maximum value of this from the CMO, by by treating that person as part of your leadership team.
Hmm.
So, um, and this is a subtle point. I mean, some people refer to us as consultants, right? And I don't object to that, but I, having been on the other side, having been in corporate life, I do believe sincerely that we as chief outsiders, we as fractional CMOs, we are very different from a traditional consultant. So in a typical consulting arrangement, you sort of have an arm's length relationship. You know, you're even sometimes even guarded in terms of what you tell, what you don't tell. You want them to figure out something, or I'm paying you, so you tell me instead of me telling you.
Hmm.
Normally behave that way, at least not in healthy organizations, with your own employees, with your own leadership team. So they will, as a CEO, you will get the most value out of me and my work if you, from day one, treat me as you're part of your leadership team. In other words, show me the good, the bad, and the ugly
Right.
as it is. And that way, I will be able to make my best contribution to advance the ball in your interest.
All right. Let me ask you the same question then, but I'm going to invert it. Right. How do companies that bring in fractional CMOs waste their money? What do they do that ends up
Yeah,
wasting or muting the fractional CMOs, or what do they not do that they should have done to make sure that they got maximum value?
yeah. Uh, yeah, I'll have to be careful because
Yeah. I'm not talking about you specifically. We're talking about other
no, no, I
fractional
know.
CMOs. Yeah.
No, no. When I said I want to be careful, careful in not hurting some egos and not getting somebody to sort of say, "Oh,
Sure.
oops, you got me," when I give you an answer. So I'm going to sort of
Sure.
camouflage. So actually, what I'm reminded of is, I've seen this clip circulated on LinkedIn a few times. I think of Steve Jobs.
Hmm.
Uh, why would I hire somebody and force them to do what I want them to do?
Hmm.
My job is to hire somebody smart and let them do what they want to do. That's the first reason I hired them to do.
Hmm.
So a fractional, when somebody hires me, here's a typical thing that happens. And Dean, you've been in the marketplace for some time. You know what marketing is. Uh, and I don't mean it in any insulting manner, but most CEOs of companies, they don't come from the marketing background. They
No.
usually come from operations or finance or something like that, not marketing. And that's okay. And that's actually the reason why they actually most CEOs want to work with people like us, because they say, you know what, I have a fairly good idea of various other things. Marketing is one area where I
Hmm.
don't have, so I need a professional. Now, so most of our hires, most of our engagements start out that way. But many CEOs also tend to be extremely type A people. So they tend to forget what they don't know. In other words, they are masters of the world,
Hmm.
masters of the universe. So then the easiest way you can waste your money with a CMO is you hire a CMO, you go through the process, you make your selection, you had a choice of choosing from five, you made your choice, and then you start dictating this is how marketing should be done. This is what
Right.
I and usually my response early on in that kind of a behavior is, you know what? If you knew this so confidently, why haven't you done it already before you hired me?
Hmm.
So the easiest way to throw your money away is to hire somebody and then get them to do what you always wanted to do but didn't do it.
You hired a fractional CMO, but you really just needed a marketing director.
Yeah,
Hmm.
or even yeah, or you needed a
Right.
marketing level intern. Go and do this, go do that.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm still the CEO. I brought
Hmm.
in, and my fractional CMO has started. Right. I'm looking at the staffers on my marketing team. Right. Some junior and mid-level folks, probably maybe a manager or supervisor. And I'm looking at them on day one today, and I'm thinking, like, okay, how are these people going to be, or how is this team or department, how are they going to be different or better a year from now by the time this fractional CMO, like, theoretically cycles out?
So I think if your question is still from a CEO perspective,
Mhm.
what you should be expecting, and actually I can almost guarantee it to you, is that when good, curious, want to learn, want to advance my career kind of people, interact with seasoned gray hair people like me who have sort of been around the block a few times. And a year is a sufficiently long time for them to pick up a lot of things that they normally would not pick up in their own seat. So I have a lot of war stories that I personally like to share. I'll spend a lot of time with them, even socially.
I
Like
like listening to fractional CMOs tell their stories because they have some crazy experiences,
crazy, yeah, yeah. Because as a marketing person, we get exposed to pretty much the entire
man. Hmm.
organization. Even a CFO doesn't get exposed to, or even an HR person doesn't get exposed to.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't. So if you are a CEO and you're sort of wondering how is my team of five marketing junior level people, marketing director, marketing managers, and such, how are they going to? What are they going to look like a year from now? I think they will be a lot wiser, a lot more confident, a lot more aware of what works when and what
Hmm.
doesn't work when. Because and this doesn't work when is as important as what works. Because one of my pet peeves is that many businesses waste their money because they keep thinking, what else can I do? What else can I do? Without asking the questions, what should I stop doing? Because if you keep throwing stuff on the marketing board as to what else can I do, what else can I do, I mean, you're going to bust your budget one day. And what's
Right.
even worse is, even if things are working, you will not know what's working. So you may be doing 10 things, and yes, we seem to be doing okay, but I don't, at this point in time, I don't know what I can unplug, what I can stop doing.
Right.
So my budget is $1 million, and that's a waste of time and money.
Yeah. All right. Imagine that your best friend says, "Hey, Atul, my kid or my grandkid or nephew um, just started their first ever job and career in marketing, or like they're the newest hire. They're just out of college themselves, first full time
Mm-hmm.
job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've been friends for a while, but I don't know exactly what you do, but I know it's something high up in marketing, and you've explained it to me 4 times, and it's okay. Do you have any advice for my nephew who's just starting out on a career in marketing, over the next like 30, 40 years? Like what should they be doing now to set themselves up for success?
Yeah, very good question. In fact, I've thought about it. I've been asked that question a few times. And as you know, I also teach marketing courses at graduate school. So, I get a chance to discuss things like this multiple times in a
Hmm.
semester, sort of, with just the right kind of people you have in mind. So, my advice is that, of course, you've chosen marketing as a career,
Hmm.
or you're in a marketing role today. So do what you are doing, and if it's a junior level job, it's not as if you're doing all of marketing. You're probably
Yeah.
doing aspect of it. You're managing the SEO, you're managing a website, you're managing
Yeah.
their
You're not
events.
cooking the meal, you're chopping onions all day.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, so do that job well, because this is how you start out. This is how you
Hmm.
develop your skills, and you show people that you are good at that. But my general advice to you would be, look for other things that you can do first within marketing. But then let's say you become a director, okay, 6, 7 years, 8 years into your role, you are still in marketing, but now you're director of marketing. You have maybe one or two people working for you. At that point, you should, and hopefully you're still in love with marketing.
Right.
At that point in time, even though you're in love with marketing, look sideways, look at the business
Hmm.
and the business challenges, and develop those relationships in engineering, in manufacturing, in finance, and things like that. And why
Sales.
am I saying in sales? Sales, actually, you're probably going to be dealing with
Yeah.
even when you're chopping onions. But the reason I say that look sideways, look beyond marketing, is that marketing is one of the topics, one of the functions where their success is more dependent on whether they can solve business problems
Hmm.
as marketing problems. So if I'm in marketing, if I'm head of marketing and solving only marketing problems, I'm probably not going to be as successful as if I'm a marketeer and I have a good understanding of the business problems and I'm solving those business problems. I mean, that's even part of your job security,
Right.
because business understands that this guy is helping our business succeed.
Hmm.
They'll think of marketing as an integral part of the business.
All right. So let's look at that sort of. You mentioned it, I think, or alluded to it just now in your answer. But I'm going to ask, right? And I'm not trying to be rude, but there are easier ways to make a living, Atul, right, than being a fractional CMO. Like, why this job?
You know, there may be easier ways, but honestly speaking, I don't know if there's any more one way.
Mm-hmm.
So, I sincerely mean it. If you look at my background and on LinkedIn or anywhere else, I've probably worked in, I don't know, seven or eight large Fortune, actually global 100
Mm-hmm.
companies. Started my career with Toyota, and then I've got some big name companies like Honeywell and Eastman Kodak Company and the like in my background at various levels. Okay. I never left a job because I went to the competition or got fired or anything. I always left my job because I got bored.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been with Chief Outsiders. This is my 12th year.
Wow.
And being a fractional CMO uh, has guaranteed that I'll not get bored. Why? Because typical engagements will last 6, 7, 8, 9 months, and I'll tackle a different problem in a different company with a different
Right.
set of human issues and things like that. And that keeps my juices flowing, that keeps my intellect sharp, and keeps boredom away. So I actually do think fractional CMO is one of the most fun ways a career marketeer can actually make a living.
All right. Now, uh, I don't normally have to do this, but I probably should. So, just to be clear for disclosure, you and I have never worked together, right? But
Correct.
I should disclose that Chief Outsiders is one of my clients. In fact, right
Mhm.
now, just a minute ago, I had to
Yeah,
deal with something for Chief Outsiders, right? Can
yeah.
you tell folks, fractional CMOs tend to either belong to some sort of collective or partnership or Remax style company where like some company takes over marketing and lead generation, they get to focus on, just
Mhm.
doing the work. And then other fractional CMOs are like complete on their own solopreneur kind. Can you explain
Mhm.
to folks in the few minutes we have left, like what is Chief Outsiders in case no one's ever heard of it?
Yeah. So it's a very good question. I'm really glad for the opportunity that you give me
Sure.
to talk about Chief Outsiders. So Chief Outsiders, given how you describe the two, that overall company will get you the leads and you get to focus on the
Mhm.
work, or you are what we call a single shingle where you're
Mhm.
doing the work and generating your own business. So actually, Chief Outsiders is what I would call a blend of the two.
Hmm.
So I'm allowed, like all of us, not only allowed, I'm actually encouraged to
Sure.
hunt my own business. And I'm also part of the system where when Chief Outsiders has a lead or has an opportunity, they'll circulate it in, and we'll raise our hands if we think that we are qualified or could add value, and then we get the business through Chief Outsiders. So it's sort of the best of both worlds. If I want to hunt my own, I'm encouraged and allowed to do that. If I want to depend on Chief Outsiders for leads and opportunities, I do that. Yeah. And in fact, in my 12 years, in fact, just a few months ago, I was looking at my history as to how many projects I've done and where did they come from and so on and so forth. And what I found is about half of my projects that I've done over the last 12 years have come through Chief Outsiders. In other words, I didn't
Mhm.
know of them. It came my way and I did them. And then about half were, maybe a little less than half, actually were my own self-generated projects.
So if I'm a company that's looking for a fractional CMO, I go to a company like Chief Outsiders, or I go to Chief Outsiders specifically because why?
Chief Outsiders,
I wasn't going to ask a question like
I
this, but
th-
you've been there 12 years. So at this point, like you're clearly one of the, you're
yeah,
comfortable being a front man for the company, right? Like a representative, I should say, for the company.
yeah,
So
I,
why
I
does a
started,
company hire Chief Outsiders instead of a single shingle sometimes?
yeah. So Chief Outsiders, I think, might be the first company
I think they are.
um, that started the business of being in a fractional CMO. I mean, they were
Mhm.
fractional lawyers, fractional anyway. They were fractional CFOs and things like that, and then fractional CIOs. But I'm not aware of a company that started before Chief Outsiders, which was focused solely on chief marketing officers. Now, of course, since last year, we've been doing chief marketing officers and chief sales officers too, but that's a different story. So why would you choose chief outsiders as opposed to somebody else offering fractional CMO function? The reason you would choose, there are a few reasons. One, as a company, we are about 120 strong. So there is not a single vertical that you can think of that we don't have
Right.
expertise in. Now, I personally don't. I may not. For instance, if you said that, do you have a background in consumer goods or in FMCG, I would say no, I don't. But I have six other
Mm-hmm.
people that introduced you to who do. So there's every single vertical covered amongst our 120 people. So that's one that that's a one reason why you would go to chief outsiders and be 100% sure that you'll find the expertise you're looking for. Secondly, we are also very collaborative. So even though you might hire just me and you may be paying only me for whatever the extent of the project is, but as a culture, we have sort of fostered this behavior amongst all of us that we will lean on people and the other people will respond very graciously to any issue that I might have. So even though I may be the only one working with you,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a full group of 120 people, or at least 20 people with similar expertise or the relevant expertise that I can lean on,
Mm-hmm.
uh, no extra cost to you, with no extra time to you. Just in the background, I'll lean on it and bring their expertise and their benefit and their knowledge to the project. So that's sort of another reason why you would choose chief outsiders over a single shingle.
Right on. All right. Well, that's the end of our time, and this has been fantastic. Thank you so much. Atul, it's great to see you. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. And that's it for our recording today. You're probably watching this on a clip, like virtually everyone else does. And we're very happy to help you out today, and hopefully show you or teach you a little bit about the world of fractional CMOing and why they're all such weird, crazy characters with weird experiences. That's why I like talking to
Yeah.
them. All right, thanks
Thanks.
everyone. Thank you, Atul.